Serving the internet.
Apple screws marketers again. I'll tell you the workaround. How marketers can keep up with change. Netflix fires the post office. And Cookie Monster has a new love. It's Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. Let's nerd out.
Ad Nerds Podcast.
The Ad Nerds Podcast delivers ad industry news every weekday. We are the go-to source for people who spend money on advertising, covering big brands, small businesses, and the latest marketing trends. It's me, Spanky Moskowitz, the show's host, and a nearly 40-year veteran of the ad industry. I've created campaigns for Budweiser, M&M's, Frito-Lay, the NFL, and NBA. I've created over 100,000 ads, earning hundreds of billions in client revenue. If you're in or interested in the world of advertising and want to stay up to date with the latest news, the Ad Nerds Podcast is the place to start.
Ad Nerds Podcast.
Marketers are having a hard time keeping up with all the changes happening in the world, right? We all know this. We feel it every day. There's lots of new technologies and ideas, and what worked before might not work anymore. But that's also a chance for marketers to connect with their customers in new ways and stand out from their competitors. One way to do this, and one way that I'm doing it, is by using artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning to work faster and more creatively. I know a lot of people are afraid of this, but hear me out on this, okay? According to a new report, a lot of marketers are planning to take risks and try new things this year, but they still need to have good information about their customers to make the right choices. So to survive in this ever-changing world, marketers need to follow a few steps. First, you actually need to talk to your customers. Like, you need to know what they need. Listen to their answers. You also need to have quick access to data so that you can learn what's happening in the market and adjust their plans according to what's going on. And it's also important for marketers to work closely with colleagues so that everyone is on the same page. I literally had a state of the state conversation with some of my team members yesterday, or a state of the union conversation with my team members, because I wanted to kind of bring them up to speed on what's going on. If everyone is doing that, you're working collaboratively, collectively, together, and you're sharing information, which can make for much faster decision making. And again, you can stay ahead of the competition. Finally, marketers, you've got to be inclusive and respectful in everything you do. You need to make sure you're representing all kinds of people and using the right language. Being thoughtful and sensitive can really help you connect and build a strong brand, something that I harp on endlessly. Now, just like I said, you've got to use the right language and be inclusive. Understand that I understand there are exceptions. My business of Ad Zombies, one of the companies I own, has a very unique brand voice, and it offends people at times, and that's okay. I'm comfortable with that. I get to make that decision as the founder and chief creative officer. But understand that every voice and every brand can have its own unique identity. You want to try to be inclusive of everyone. Don't isolate audiences, because remember, it's the same thing like when you go on and you start talking about politics. You literally divide your potential customer base in half. Half of them agree with you, half of them hate you. So don't divide, unite. That's the best thing we can do as marketers.
Ad Nerds Podcast.
Our favorite cookie lover, the Cookie Monster, is now a fan of almond milk.
No, it's not your usual, but cereal's tasty with Califia almond milk.
Oh, looks yummy, creamy, delicious. See, people see me and think, oh, he only eats cookies. But me multifaceted individual, me try new things.
Guess we should start calling you Cereal Monster. Or that was just a joke.
Good, yeah, Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster. That's right. The latest ad for Califia almond milk, the Cookie Monster, is seen gazing at a bowl of almond milk with curiosity and awe. Directed by Jeff Lowe, the commercial features the Muppet reflecting on his love for cookies and his desire to try new things, like farm foods, like almond milk. And he watches the creamy, delicious-looking almond milk pour down the bottle. He whispers to himself that he's ready to try a new favorite thing. Anyway, the campaign has a really awesome feel to it. It adds a lot of fun and whimsy and a little bit of art to the puppet persona of Cookie Monster. Califia CMO Suzanne Genestro said the idea behind the campaign is to prompt consumers to rethink everything, including the type of milk they add to their cereals, and to explore the delicious possibilities that plants have to offer. Now, I'm not sure what I want more, cookies or milk. Oh. Coming up, Adapt or Die, how 3 brands have come together to tackle a marketing challenge and how you can too.
Ad Nerds Podcast.
Are you great at running your business? Well, how about marketing it? If you're like most small business owners, you're great at the thing your business does, but not so great at figuring out how to market it. That's where Ad Zombies comes in. We help your business sell more. Ad Zombies write to ads, emails, web copy, sales pages, radio and video scripts. If it needs words, Ad Zombies has them. Go to adzombies.com today and use promo code NERDS to save 20%. Ad Zombies. We write words that sell anything for businesses anywhere. Disney, Kroger, and PepsiCo are testing out using shopper data to reach audiences through connected TV, starting with Hulu. Now, if you recall, I've been talking to you about Hulu's self-service platform over the past few weeks, amongst others, in previous podcast episodes. You can go back and find them. I'll put some links to those in the show notes. I'm going to explain the value to this, to your business in a few moments, but back to the story. It's important because it's becoming increasingly harder for packaged goods marketers to find audiences on linear TV or traditional TV and target them in the digital space, especially with the upcoming loss of cookies on Google Chrome and privacy barriers from Apple, which I'm going to talk about later in the show, and other platforms. The partnership between Disney and Kroger is significant because Kroger has tons of data that can now be infused with Disney's content, allowing advertisers to reach their audience in a new way. The program is expected to roll out broadly for CPG marketers in the second half of this year. CPG, by the way, is consumer packaged goods, for those of you that don't know that. And Disney is considering partnerships with other retail media networks. Now, what does this mean for you, for your small business? Well, if you own an online store or perhaps a local business, a boutique, whatever, the more consumer data you collect, first-party data, the better. Because this is the data that's going to allow you to stay in front of your customers everywhere. Using shopper data to advertise on connected TVs could be a great option for you because you know the cost of entry is relatively inexpensive, especially if you're doing a targeted local market, right? I think I mentioned $500 for the first month or per month to get your campaign in front of the right people at the right time in front of the right shows. You can expand your reach and drive sales for your business. Additionally, as more consumers are spending time watching streaming TV, the industry is going to evolve and they're going to increase delivery of ad messages in new ways, right? You've got to adopt the behavior now and stay nimble. That way you ensure you're always adapting to today and not stuck in what once worked.
Ad Nerds Podcast.
Apple's Safari browser is closing a loophole that allowed third-party partners to be passed off as first-party cookies. I know I just said something that sounds super technical, and it is, but this is going to impact marketers once again. This move limits data collection and will affect lots of websites. Maybe yours? Apple's lack of communication about this change has frustrated the ad tech industry to no end. And for small businesses, this change means that Google Analytics, which is a tool many of us rely on, and other third-party tools used to enhance website functions might be impacted dramatically. It's essential to consider sharing your data server to server to bypass the browser entirely to work with third parties. It's also important to rely on short-term metrics, such as, when I say short-term, shorter-term metrics, such as last touch or data-driven attribution instead of first touch. First touch is harder now because you don't know if they touched it with an iOS device or on Safari, that data is not going to make it through. So last touch attribution, that shorter-term metric, is far more valuable, but data-driven attribution is even better. So small business owners, what you should be doing is you should be working on building your own stores of data and analytics so that you can avoid dependence on third-party tools. Also, keep a close eye on upcoming browser policy changes and be prepared for future changes because it's not going to stop. Data privacy is only going to tighten. And this is why I talk about building your brand all of the time. You know, I get so much crap from performance-based marketers. And by the way, there's value in performance-based marketing, and you can do brand building and performance marketing simultaneously at the same time together. I know it was the same word. I just wanted to see if you were paying attention. But building your brand is the way to ensure that customers go to you. You become their go-to. Think about this. If you had a cut on your finger, what would you put on your finger? That's right, a Band-Aid. But that's the brand. It's actually a bandage. If you had a cold and had to blow your nose, what would you blow your nose with? Yes, but a Kleenex is a tissue. Kleenex is a brand. Tissue is the product. And lastly, if you had hemorrhoids, what product would you go to the store and buy? Okay, now tell me, who is the next closest competitor to Preparation H? Right, you can't. Because they've built their brand. And people buy their product because they are so aware of their product. So, stop telling me that building your brand is a waste of time, performance marketers, because you're wrong. You don't know anything. I've been doing this for almost 40 years. Trust me, it works. Coming up, Netflix says goodbye to the very thing that made them a household name. What can a kid teach you about spending $5 million? Watch a kid pack a great snowball. They squeeze out the fluff, pack it firm, tight, hard. Whether you spend $50 to advertise or $5 million, take this lesson to heart. The sales message you deliver better be packed firm, tight, and hard. All the fluff squeezed right out of it. It can be the difference between a campaign that hits hard and sells and one that falls apart. Get Words That Sell Anything, the flagship copywriting course from Ad Zombies, and watch your words pack a punch. Go to learn.adzombies.com. Use promo code NERDS to save 20% on Words That Sell Anything today. Netflix started its DVD delivery service in 1998, which quickly became a popular way for people to rent movies without having to leave their homes. I call them shut-ins. The company's founders, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, grew the business over the next few years, adding more titles and expanding delivery areas. You know the story if you've been around. In 2007, Netflix launched its streaming service, which allowed people to watch movies and TV shows instantly at home on their computers. The introduction of streaming was a game changer and eliminated essentially the need for physical DVDs and made entertainment accessible and more convenient than ever. The streaming service quickly gained popularity, and as a result, traditional DVD rental stores like Blockbuster couldn't compete. We all remember Blockbuster eventually filed for bankruptcy in 2010 while Netflix continued to dominate the streaming market. Well, I have sad news today. After 25 years, Netflix has announced that it will be ending its DVD delivery service. That's right. The company will ship its final discs on September 29th, according to a statement released yesterday from Netflix. While the DVD delivery service was once a ritual for tens of millions of subscribers, the business has shrunk in recent years, making it increasingly difficult for Netflix to continue providing the best service for its members. On a side note, it appears that the creation of Netflix and binge watching has taken its toll on our waistlines too. I was curious, so I did a little Google searching. The obesity rate in 1998 when Netflix was launched was 19.8% in the U.S. A decade of couch surfing later, 25.5%. And 20 years after its launch, 2018, the obesity rate among U.S. adults was 42.4%. Now, with the crackdown on password sharing, Netflix does expect to lose some market share. But on last night's Q1 earnings call, they kicked that can down the road again. It'll be interesting to see if the obesity trend reverses when they finally enforce the crackdown. Well, that's the Ad Nerds podcast for today, Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. Spanky out! Thanks for listening and have a great day.